you were at last night. Vancouver, Calgary. Calgary won as Calgary wins. What a game.
That's the 25th time. I mean, I think that's one of the numbers that's so hard to comprehend. That's the 25th time this year the Flames have come from behind to win a game. And more specifically, that's, I think, the 13th time they've been down in the third period and managed to come back and win. Like, when you have confidence like that, it's no wonder the Calgary Flames have been doing what they're doing. They're too young enough to realize they're not supposed to be doing stuff like that. And last night, to me, two of the heroes in the game, the two best forwards for the Calgary Flames by far were raw rookies. Sam Bennett playing just his first ever NHL playoff game and second NHL game ever, and then Michael Ferland, who's only played a couple dozen games in the NHL. So those two guys led the way for the Flames, which is shocking considering you're playing against a pretty veteran team with the Canucks. It was quite a night.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Here's the goal just to get you jacked up again.
Michael Backlund. Calgary started to change. Jones and Bunt just missed the pass coming up the bench. It is Weidman. It's Russell shoots. He scores!
That was 30 seconds left. You know what? And I went to bed, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch the game, I watched the highlights. I went to bed, and I woke up this morning, and not just the score 2-1, which is how Calgary wins, and Jonas Hiller was fantastic, but to score with 30 seconds left, and like you said, for Sam Bennett, who was in on that goal, to lead his team in shots, it continues to write itself. It's such a great story.
Yeah, it really is, and I don't know how long it's game one. Let's see where all this goes. But the Flames were outplayed for the first half of the game quite considerably. But it was one of those cases where it was one of those classic cases where, as you watch the game, the Flames are getting better and better and better. And kind of the storyline going into this series was going to be that you had this veteran Vancouver team, who most people had written off prior to the beginning of the year. This veteran team was going to, basically have its way with a bunch of young kids who didn't even know what they were doing in the NHL. And just over the course of 60 minutes, you saw them get a tremendous amount of confidence and experience and make a game of it. So, boy, that crowd sure got silent with 30 seconds to go. I don't think anybody in that building saw it coming. Yet the irony is everyone in Calgary saw it coming because we've seen that game all year long.
Eric, I'm watching that game last night, and I catch myself, and I don't know if you did. This team doesn't have Mark Giordano in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the best defensemen in all the NHL, and the dude is not there, and nobody's even talking about that guy's not even in the lineup, and they're still doing this.
No, you know what's funny? Like, I mean, the buzzword for the Calgary Flames is comeback. I mean, they do it so often on an almost nightly basis. But speaking of comebacks, like, when they did their morning skate yesterday, who was the first guy out onto the ice? Mark Giordano. He had surgery less than 2 months ago, and we were told 5 to 6 months recovery for a torn biceps. This guy, there's a lot more whispers than there were, ever before, that he may just be able to come back if this team makes any sort of damage and gets into the second or third round.
Are you serious?
We may see him back. I mean, again, This is a Brian Burke team. They love to play head games. It may just be a case of where he's getting his feet under him and he's there anyway. He wasn't shooting the puck because his wing is nowhere near being ready. But he was skating around, and that's the second day in a row he was doing it with him. And who knows? But the Calgary Flames, their mantra should just be, who knows?
No kidding. Well, what a game. And moving on now, Chicago, Nashville. Nashville is up 3-0 in the first period, and they lose 4-3 in double overtime thanks to Scott Darling. That was a hell of a game, too.
Yeah, I got to be honest, when you're covering a series and you're immersed in the game here, I didn't see a minute of that game, but obviously you're following along with it, and you're seeing, geez, that's another team that you can never count out. And they're doing with veteran savvy in Chicago, along with, I don't know what to call Scott Darling. Is he a veteran or is he a raw rookie? Because he's never really played in the NHL until this year. Yeah, he's 29 years of age, so he's somewhere in the middle of the two. But yeah, he's one of the feel-good stories of the NHL season.
Yeah, he got pulled. Corey Crawford, 9 saves, 12 shots, save percentage of .750, which apparently, if I do my math correct, and I'm no pundit, not good.
You nailed it.
Yeah, and then Scott Darling comes in, and here's a line: 42 saves on 42 shots.
And you know what's funny about that is I was looking at all the goalies who started or are going to start their, for the 16 teams going into the playoffs. And Crawford has by far, like not even close, but by far the best record in the playoffs of any goalie going into these playoffs. He's one of the only guys with a record above 500 going into the playoffs. So he was the one guy you kind of thought you could count on. And hey, it's early, it's game one. But, for those unfamiliar with Scott Darling's story, take 2 minutes to Google him this morning and you'll say, wow, that's pretty cool.
Eric, the other two series kicked off in the West, St. Louis, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Anaheim. Out of Minnesota and Winnipeg, which one of those teams is more likely to pull off the upset?
Oh, great question. I'm still going to say Minnesota, even though I've been picking St. Louis all year long to win the Cup. Anaheim is so good, so tough. I know everyone thinks Winnipeg matches up really, really well because they're big. But, when you ask the question that way, Minnesota has just been on such an incredible roll. I guarantee their record is second only to the Ottawa Senators in the last month and a half. They're going in with a tremendous amount of confidence. Their goaltender's on fire, and that goalie can steal your games because he's been doing it for, like I said, for a couple months. I mean, I was filling up my ballot yesterday for the Hart Trophy and the Vezina and all that. Dubnik's right there. I mean, Dubnik is right there. So I'll say Minnesota, even though, like I said, St. Louis is a juggernaut to me.
Appreciate your time, brother. Thanks so much. Go put some more ice in that warm rum and coke next to your bed.
Cheers, boys. You got it. That's the recipe for early morning success.
We'll talk to you soon, pal. Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Eric